Hi, I'm Stephanie,
And I'm Justy, and
and
together
together
we're
we're
losing
losing
it.
it. We've each lost over 100 pounds with the help of diet, exercise, and breaking bad habits. And I also had weight loss surgery in 2020.
And I recently had skin removal surgery.
We're just sharing our journey and what we've learned throughout the process.
And we're not doctors, so if you have any medical questions, reach out to your doctor.
Hello, friends. We are back for another episode, and today we're going to talk about meal prepping, kind of why it's important to us,
Mhm.
um, how we do it, what we do, not necessarily a meal plan, but like kind of just the thought behind it, what we do when we can't meal preps, just some like alternates to what we do. So we're just going to go down that rabbit hole of meal prep. I know it can be scary to some people. We are restaurant people, so for us it kind of comes naturally, but
Mhm.
hoping that with some of our advice and suggestions and whatnot, it'll make it easier for you too. So first, Jesse, I'll let you talk about why it's important to you. And I bet our whys are very similar, but I'll let you go ahead and go.
Yeah, so it's important to me because I just found I do better. I stay on track. So I am somebody who plans my meals every day, what I'm going to eat. I plan it in the morning, and then that's what I eat. And so if I'm having a craving or if I'm having like a thought that I need chocolate cake, if I didn't plan it for today, I'm not going to eat it. And so if I have that craving multiple times in a row, then I will put it on my plan and eat it in a controlled manner. So that's what works for me. But it's important for me to stay on my plan, to stay in maintenance, but I work crazy hours. I have 5 bakeries. I never know where I'm going to be. So when I meal prep, I can literally take my containers and stick them in my bag and just go. So I'll take my
Right.
whole day with me. If I'll eat breakfast at home, I'll take lunch and dinner and my snacks, put it in my bag, and take it with me. Sometimes I come home when I've only eaten the lunch, but I have it with me because that's what I'm eating. And so if I don't do that, then I will flail. I'll be like, oh, I guess I should drive through the Chick-fil-A because if I'm not prepared. So it just keeps me prepared.
And that's not to say that you can't go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A is one of the places that I go to when I like if I need fast food for some reason, I'm trying to get some like road trip, whatever, but it's planned and it's thought out because they have delicious grilled nuggets and I know I can get that and still stay in line with my goals. So there is a time and a place for most things like that, but not it's when it's a I promise you that if you failed to have your meal prep and things ran long and you didn't get home in time for dinner and you were going to drive through Chick-fil-A to get um food because you're just in that much of a hurry, you're probably not getting the nugget, the grilled nuggets. You're probably getting fried because your
right.
brain is just in that like spaz um type of situation and it's just going to get what, I need to have this and I need to have it now versus like, oh, on this road trip we'll stop at a Chick-fil-A and I can get my grilled nuggets and my kale salad or a cup of fruit or whatever. Or maybe you have the fries too. Who knows? But it's
I
planned
always
and it's right. And it's thought about and it's planned and it's whatever works for you. But when it's last minute and it's like you don't have a plan is when you'll just go for all the bad choices. So
and
um
that's the same thing. That's also why I prepare my food, is because I'm going to make the decision on what I'm eating in the morning or even the night before with my best brain forward. Like
right.
I didn't, after a stressful day or after dealing with, customers at all my bakeries, or better yet, employees at all my bakeries, and all the bullshit that goes on in my day. If now at that tired brain and frustrated brain, I'm making a decision on what I'm eating today, I'm going to make the bad decision.
Right. Right.
Nothing's bad. No food's bad, but the unhealthy decision for
Right.
sure.
The a
Yeah,
decision that does not align with your goals.
exactly. Exactly.
And so very similar for me. And the funny thing is I didn't used to meal prep. I really got into meal prep when I lived in North Carolina with Justy. That's what I mostly did. I would do it here and there, but I didn't really, really start to like meal prep regularly until we did it together. And I teach classes, and I think all of that helped me. But it got me to a place where I kind of don't like it when I don't. I don't like not having that stuff ready. And there's been plenty of times, typically Thursdays for me at work is like meeting, 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 meeting. And then you're like, ooh, I've got 20 minutes. And it's like, what am I going to do in 20 minutes? Well, I can go upstairs, refill my water, grab my meal prep, pop it in either like the toaster oven, air fryer thingy, or the microwave, and I'm set. And there's no frantic
Drama.
anything. I'm not right. There's no drama. I'm not making a poor decision based off of I only have 20 minutes to get this. Let me shove these donuts in my mouth and no, I have it. It's ready. Um, and so I just like having it ready. I like taking the guesswork out of it. And like Justy said, I typically meal prep on Sunday. Sometimes it's Monday. We've been known to do it on a Tuesday. It doesn't really matter. Just whenever you can fit it in, and it just depends on your lifestyle. But Sunday, I'm off work. Most of the time I'm home, or I'll set out a block of time to do it. And I feel like I can bring, like Justy said, my whole self to it. I feel like I can bring the thought to it. I can get my grocery shopping done, and buy the appropriate things that I need for it. And sometimes I've meal prepped before and not grocery shopped. I grocery shopped in the fridge, in the pantry, and made stuff out of that. So there's just, I mean, I guess that being said, we can get into like kind of the hows of it. So for
It's,
me, I'll go ahead.
it's funny, real quick. It's funny because I want to start off by saying that Steph and I are opposite when it comes to like our life. And so she always has a plethora of food in her house, like her pantry. Like I could go in there and probably make food for a month. Same
Yes.
thing with my mom, Miss Linda. I'm like, I went to her house at Thanksgiving. I'm like, I could cook here for a month and not have to buy anything. Myself, on the other hand, I have only what I'm cooking for meal prep, and condiments. I have lots of condiments. And then also, that being said, Steph has a whole ass family to cook for, and I just have myself.
Right.
So kind of probably why she has food at the house too, because I
Right.
don't need.
I like to feed them too.
Yeah,
They've been behaving, they can eat.
just coming from two separate places is really a lot of the reasoning why we do it the way that we each do it differently. So go ahead.
Right. So I will often I try to pick like a star of the show. I try to pick like a protein or just something where I can cross utilize ingredients. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Like I would pick like a ground turkey. Let me backtrack and say, to me, the trash truck is coming by as we do this, so enjoy the sound. Um, to me, meal prep is that should not mean, and for those of you who are deathly afraid of it, it's not the gym rat meal prep of sweet potato, broccoli, and boiled chicken. It does not have to be that way. Now, unless you're Steady Eddie and that he likes what he likes, and that's fine. There are people who are like that. But I do think oftentimes that is what turns people off the most, is thinking that like, oh, I gotta gag this. They don't like sweet potatoes. Eat a regular fucking potato. It's
Right,
okay.
right.
Right. That's not what it's about. And it's no different than like exercise. Like if you hate running, you're not going to run. Well, that's not true. I don't hate running. I have a love-hate with it, but you're going to choose what you like to do to make sure that you're going to do it. So I make sure that when I meal prep, that shit's going to be delicious because I've got to eat it I usually do four. I give myself one day because I don't want to throw food away. But I give one day for who knows what happens. Maybe I'm out of the house for a day, or what typically happens is I eat it Monday through Thursday, and then Friday I have leftovers or something. I've always got the makings of like a flatbread pizza. Like I've got stuff, but I only do 4 days, just so I'm not overcommitting. Plus, after 4 days, I'm probably tired of it anyway. But I try to do like one ingredient and switch it up. And a lot of times it will be a lean protein. It'll be chicken. And not always chicken breast. There's nothing wrong with chicken thighs. Matter of fact, they're my favorite. They have more flavor. I eat chicken thighs all the time. There's a time and a place for chicken breast. Typically, I use it if I'm like shredding
Mhm.
chicken because it's going to get mixed with something like I'm making enchiladas this weekend. Justy, I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you my meal prep for this weekend. I have a friend coming over. Don't hate me, Justy. I have a friend coming that's going to meal prep with me. So we're going to
Mhm.
meal prep together. She doesn't
Mhm.
really meal prep. And I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you want to come meal prep with me? She's like, okay. So she's got, sorry, nobody can take your place when it comes to meal prep though. Nobody. So I'm gonna make chicken enchiladas the way that we like them. So that'll be with chicken breast, and I'm fine with that. And I will boil them because that's how I'm gonna get my shredded chicken. But I don't eat boiled chicken. I eat flavorful shredded once upon boiled chicken. And I buy the pre-made enchilada sauce. I get the low carb tortillas. I have low fat cheese, and I'm gonna pair it with rice and some like sauteed like fajita vegetable type of thing. So
Mhm.
that's my one meal. The second one is breakfast. I'm gonna do a crustless ham, broccoli, and cheese quiche. And then I'm gonna do a snack of energy bites. So like the little granola energy bites. It's gonna have coffee in it, like not decaf, instant coffee and banana and some mini chocolate chips in there. So that's the three things that I'm meal prepping. They have nothing to do with each other. You know what they had to do with? My cravings. I really
Yeah,
wanted enchiladas. So guess what I'm gonna make? Motherfucking enchiladas. And
right.
I really have been wanting to make these energy balls. And so I'm gonna make them. And then the I just wanted something for breakfast different. I haven't done like a quiche or an eggy thing in a while. So that's kind of where I go. I want to shake it up. I want it to be different. Not nobody. Most people don't want to eat the same thing all the time, and we want it to be exciting, but it does not have to be difficult. That's for sure. So that's kind of like I go that route. Sometimes I'll look and see what meat is on sale at the grocery store. I will tell you they have baby back ribs on sale this week, and I was like, I could do that and make it into a meal prep. It's not the healthiest meal prep, but I love ribs. Like I can if I want to have something like that, baby back ribs, right? Not the healthiest, but something I love and I crave. And my husband being vegetarian, I'm the only one that's going to eat these ribs. So I would need to do it as a meal prep. I can't just get it for dinner one night. I could, but that'd be weird. So if I did that, I would just make sure that whatever I planned for the rest of my meals that day counterbalance
Mm.
the calories and the fat that I'm going to have in those ribs. So that's kind of how I think. I go a lot of it is based off of cravings and sometimes like what's the meat that the grocery store has on sale so I can build around that. So I'm not trying to blow the budget on meal prep either.
I do the same thing. So mine is basically mainly based off of my cravings. So what I think tastes going to taste good, and then I'll go to the grocery store, and same thing with you. If they have like Harris Teeter had like buy one get one free chicken or whatever, I'll do that. I do not prep my breakfasts because I just assume make some scrambled eggs, and I pretty much eat eggs on a tortilla with some hot sauce every day. Or I might, if once I get sick of eggs, if I do get sick of eggs, then I'll eat like overnight oats or something, and I will prep that. But I prep 2 meals. And I don't have the luxury of having weekends off typically. So it just depends on what day. Typically, I'll do it on Sunday. So I'll prep 2 meals, and that will last me about 4 days of, so I'll do 4 of each of 2 things. I'll do one for breakfast, one for dinner. I'll switch it up. And then when I'm down to 1 or 2, I will prep 2 more meals. So I kind of prep like twice a week. And then like that days where they overlap, I might kind of, I'll just pick and choose. So I literally will just take 2 containers and put them in my bag, and I'm off to work. So I get sick of the same thing if it's more than 4 days. So I have broccoli and like beef and broccoli with rice in there, and I don't want to eat it anymore. I have one left. I'm going to throw it away. It's okay.
Right.
Not going to die. No, nobody in Africa is going to starve because I did that.
Right.
All right. So, before I'd be like, oh, I have to eat it. No, it's all right. I just made too much. It's hard just being me because I'm one person. So that's how I do it. I prep either Sunday or Monday. I'll prep 2 meals based off of my cravings. Like I want lasagna, so I'm probably going to make a lasagna.
I just
And
did lasagna.
I will try to make a small one, but I just make big shit. So I'll try to make a small one, but I'll portion it up into 4 portions, and then I'll freeze the rest.
Yes, exactly.
Because I know I'm not going to eat it for more than 4 days, and I'll just freeze the rest. That way, on the weeks when I don't have as much time, like this week I didn't prep a second time, but I had some ham and beans in the freezer. So I just pulled those out instead of stressing myself out about it. And it's kind of nice because I'll pull it out of the freezer. If I do pull it out of the freezer, I'll put it in my lunch bag and it's kind of like thawed by the time I get to it. So that's how I do it. And again, I don't cook things based off of the health of it. I cook it based off of what I want, and I try to make it healthier. So
Exactly.
if I want chicken and dumplings, I'll make chicken and dumplings. I will use flour and all the things, but I'll put more chicken than dumplings. And I don't typically put vegetables in my chicken and dumplings, but I'll put some peas and carrots and other stuff in it instead. And I won't eat it with mashed potatoes. So I might do like a cauliflower mash or something, or just not at all.
Right.
So try to level up my food, and Steph is really good at that. We call them dish flips.
Flip my dish. Yep.
Yeah.
And I do that. So let me go back to why I do that or how I started doing that. So when I first met my husband and he told me he was vegetarian, this is 300-pound me. I was like, excuse me, what? Like, you don't eat any no meat? No? Okay. So he does eat the occasional seafood. He eats way more seafood now. He was talking about the other day and said he's just way more comfortable with seafood now. So we're gonna go with pescatarian because we probably have some type of seafood once a week or so. But that's when I started taking things that I really like and making a vegetarian version of it. So I used to do that like after we first met because there was some things that I wanted and I'm like, well, I'm so tired of vegetarian things, but how can I make some of the things I love and make them vegetarian? So I did that. Then fast forward to me having bariatric surgery. While I can eat regular ass food, it's the same like Justy said, leveling up. There's nothing wrong with eating chicken and dumplings, but like if I ate chicken and dumplings every day for extended period of time, it's not serving me any purpose. It's not me working towards my goal. And so I started kind of flipping dishes. So I would take some things that like I really truly love. Chicken enchiladas, they're a great example. Well, if I went to the Mexican restaurant down the street and got chicken enchiladas, I can promise you that platter would probably be close to 1,000 calories. So
Mm-hmm.
now I just am mindful they are stuffed with chicken. They've got cheese, but I use like the reduced fat. Like I just try to be mindful about the ingredients that I use. And Justy can attest to it. They're flipping delicious. And I don't make them
Yeah.
difficult where like I don't dip the tortilla in the sauce and all of that. I just made it an easier version and it's so quick to put together. Um, and it's good. So that's just the thing. Like it's gotta be, you have to want to eat it. And I've done the same thing before where I've thrown something away. I'm like, this didn't turn out quite how I thought it would, and I'll just throw it away because at this point, my stomach is little. So if I'm gonna fill it with something, I want it to be delicious. I want that meal to be delicious. Now, not every meal is gonna be delicious, but if I'm making it, I want to do the best I can to make it really good. So if I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not gonna eat it because then that's gonna send you down the rabbit hole later in the day, digging through the pantry because you didn't satisfy that need or that craving. Um, Justy mentioned lasagna. So last week I do teach meal prep classes in Berry Nation for those bariatric folks that know Berry Nation. And I do them about every other week. And this one I thought I try to have a theme. This one I did all vegetarian. I've never done that before. But vegetarian with like vegetables and beans and legumes, that kind of thing, versus using like a synthetic meat.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a vegetarian lasagna and I just tried to, pick vegetables that are higher. Um, like spinach has decent protein, things like that. I took the ricotta cheese and I cut that in half and did the other half with cottage cheese to kind of boost for a lower calorie point, boost my protein. So things like that. I really tried to think that through. And I made it work and I made a big pan of it and it was 8 servings. Obviously, I'm one person, but what I did that night was I made it last Sunday. That was also Sunday night's dinner for us. So that's oftentimes, Justy mentioned she'll make lunch and dinner. We typically eat dinner together as a family. So I usually make dinner every night. Unless my husband's working, then I'll pull a meal prep. So I try to pay attention to his schedule because sometimes I will do too. So that lasagna was dinner for us that night. So that took 3 pieces out there. And then I had another where's my math? Another 5 portions, but everybody loved it. Child loved it, husband loved it, I loved it. So that it's gone. That was gone before the rest of my meal was gone. So, that was a craving. I really wanted lasagna and I was like, I'll make a vegetarian one. So craving is solved. And everybody was happy with it. So you just have to find what's right for you. But I think what works mostly for both of us is, what do we really want to eat? Like, because
Mhm.
let's be honest, we didn't get to whatever our highest weight was, not by eating the things that we love to eat. So
Right.
in honoring that, let's continue doing it, but in a healthier manner, in a intentional manner, so we can continue to live a happy life and not feel deprived all the time, not think, oh, boiled chicken, steamed broccoli, here we go. I can't live that life. I just can't.
Can't either. And it's interesting because I had before, when I was bigger, I had like these rules, like oh, for instance, there was brats on sale the other day, and I bought a package of brats. I love brats. They're not the healthiest for you, but I like them, and I've been having a craving for them, and I don't know why. So I was like, oh shit, they're on sale. Let me grab some. But before, I would have been like, oh, brats, I have to have a bun, and I have to have sauerkraut, and I have to have like French fries. Like, I had these meals that I felt like I had to have all the things with them. But now I think differently. Like, or chicken and dumplings, like, you don't put vegetables in chicken and dumplings, but why the fuck not? Like, peas and carrots are great in it. So letting go of that. But then also, like, I made the brats, and I made them with some baby red potatoes and green beans, and I just like sauteed the brats whole in the pan, and then put the green beans and potatoes in there with some onions, just like let it cooked and seasoned it. And I
Mhm.
portioned those out, and it's freaking delicious. It's
Yep.
more delicious than a dry ass hamburger bun and some Orida French fries. Like, it was really good. And I enjoyed it. And so, am I going to eat brats every week or every meal? No, but I'm going to eat them 3 times this week because I've cooked half a pack. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, and you can actually take things like that, and maybe you don't do the bun, and I often don't do that, but I have found buns that do align with my goals. The 647 brand, they've got great buns, and they came out with a hoagie bun, and I'm super excited because I think for dinner on Sunday, we have vegetarian Italian sausage in the fridge, in the freezer. So, and I don't mind it. I don't mind the vegetarian sausages. They're usually pretty good. I'm gonna do like a sausage, pepper, and onion kind of like parm sandwich. And these rolls, they're only I think they're 100 calories for the hoagie roll, and they're like loaded with fiber, and they're super soft. They're pretty good. So when I really want like that, like I'm craving that and I want that roll, there are options. There's things that we can do, but a lot of times I'll do the same thing when we have brats. I typically don't eat the bun. I just slice it up. I get my grain mustard and like sauteed onions and stuff, but I choose to not have the bun because we often will have it with like pierogies. I would rather have the pierogies than the bun. So it's like I make those conscious decisions. The old me would have probably had 2 brats, both on buns, and double the serving of the pierogies, and I would have had all of it versus just being smart and intentional about it.
right. And I think, and then also with the portion sizes. So I used to meal prep before when I was a lot bigger, but I way over portion stuff. So, it was kind of like I would eat the whole thing because that's what was in the container. And
Hmm.
I've just learned over, and we'll talk about a whole nother podcast on eating till enough, but I just kind of was like, okay, when I'm done eating something, I'm like, wow, I felt full. And so if I have 2 or 3 more containers of that same thing, I'll just know after that first one, like, ooh, I over prepped that a little bit, and I won't
Hmm.
eat the container, or I will honestly just take some out before I even heat it up
Yep.
and be like, that was too much the last time, because that full feeling is my body telling me that I ate too much. And so I don't, if I have that feeling, I ate too much, then I have to evaluate. And so now there are times in my life, and we could talk about this in a whole nother podcast too, where I have a planned overeat. So it's kind of like if I'm feeling on edge, or if I'm feeling just like, and I can't even explain it, but there's a certain release that overeating does for me. And so, but I'll plan it and I'll be like, I'm going to overeat. But then I do it, and it's not like I do it every day or every week. Like before, when I was bigger, I would eat way past full every meal, right? And I'm telling you, if you don't know what it is, there's just a feeling when you eat that much to where you just have a release. And so now I might do it once a month, once every 2 months. So, and again, I plan for it, I control it. And honestly, sometimes my intention is to do it and then I don't even do it. So, but anyway, that's a whole nother podcast. But portion control. So if you're meal prepping, but you're not controlling your portion, then it's not doing you the justice that it should.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I usually take mine. And so the recipes I made last week, because they were for the class, I had to write recipes out for them, and I figure out all the macros and everything for it. And that's how I can control my portion, or I try to control my portions. And I eat protein first. So I'm after a protein goal. Now working with a coach, I do have a calorie goal, but for me, it's more so a protein goal. And that's what I'm after, trying to hit that. So in order to get that, I have to have my dishes be protein forward. So this vegetarian chili I made was primarily black beans. That was my method. The more vegetables that I would add to it, it would take away from how much protein I'm getting per volume. As a bariatric patient, I can only eat so much at one time. I thought this cup and a half or so, maybe a little slightly over a cup of beans, of this like hearty bean chili. I was like, this looks like a great portion. But I'll tell you what, by the time because I topped it with Greek yogurt, pepitas, and just like a sprinkle of pepitas, a tablespoon of Greek yogurt, and some low-fat shredded cheese, it was too much. I was eating past full, just to get this dish down. So like Justy talked about. So I didn't really dial into that until the third day of it. So no, this after the second day. So the third day, I just took, and like Justy said, I took half of that portion out and I put it into a separate container, and I just ate half of it. And I actually took some Tostitos chips. I allowed myself 4 chips, and I dipped with that and ate that half a portion. And I put the other portion aside for later, because I told Justy, I noticed I was getting hungry at night. So it's not that I wasn't going to eat it, I just couldn't eat it all at once. So I put it aside for another time when I was hungry again, rather than eating it, being over full, and then finding myself hungry at night because I didn't space my food out properly. That's the life of a bariatric patient. You have to space your food out. So I didn't think about that the first 2 times I ate it. But by the time I ate it the second time, I kind of learned and I spaced it out.
And I think for Steph having the surgery, she went from having a full tummy to have smaller stomach all overnight. And I had to slowly train my body. So had I continued to overeat and push my stomach stretches, right? So I was able to eat a lot more than I can now. Without having the surgery, my stomach just naturally went back to a normal size. But it didn't happen overnight. And I specifically remember, I mean, almost every time I eat now, I'm thinking in my head, it's not enough. In my head, I'm thinking like, that wasn't hardly anything, but my stomach is telling me something different. And so I had to slowly, when doing meal prep is another way of controlling like your portion size. So I put, let's say the last time I made lasagna, I got 6 slices. Well, this time I'm going to do 8, right? And see what that gets me. And next time I'm going to do, maybe 10, but then add broccoli instead of the other half. So it's like starting with meal prep and just starting where you're at and the portions that you feel in your head that are right for you, but then really listening to your body and being, okay, well, next time I meal prep, I can stretch this into maybe 5 instead of 2, or, even when I don't have time to meal prep and I do need to order out or something like that, I will do clean eats, which are nice portions. Or like if I want Chinese food, I'll freaking get it. But I will portion it into 3 or 4 days worth of Chinese food. When before I used to eat the whole thing at
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
one night. But you can't go from eating the whole thing of Chinese food in one night to eating a half a cup of rice and, you know, a cup of orange chicken. You're going to feel deprived and you're going to end up eating all of your containers in one night. You have to slowly kind of bring it down and make it healthier, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And not only that, but so I'm going to go back to that chili. When I looked at it after I made it, I portioned it out. I was like, this isn't going to be enough. It's just, it's just
Mhm.
not enough. Like I saw what a small portion it was, and then it actually was more than enough, which shocked me. And you have to think of it in this sense. This was a like primary, it's about a half of a can of black beans that was in that chili. And this shit was delicious. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't loaded with a bunch of other stuff. It was primarily black beans. That's heavy.
Mhm.
So in volume, it doesn't look like a lot. But if I was to take that same volume of like chicken noodle soup, well, I would have had to double it to
Mhm.
fill myself. Versus that portion in something heavier like that, high fiber, high protein, that's where it will fill you up. So you have to think about that when you're portioning too. So if you're looking at like a salad, the volume of your salad can be more because by the time you eat it and everything, it takes more. So for me, as a bariatric patient, because Justy and I, we would prep salads together and she would have like a bigger salad. And I have this little teeny tiny container because I only put a little bit of the vegetables in because I want to load it with my protein because that's what I need. I need to reach a protein goal as a bariatric patient versus the rest of it is not nearly as important, but I want the vegetables. So when I have a salad, I have a small salad with like a bunch of protein on it because you'll in time get used to kind of your volume and what things are going to like for example 3 ounces of chicken breast is a struggle for me to get 3 ounces of chicken breast down because it's so dense and so much protein, but 3 ounces of Cheez-Its, no problem, they will go right in and then some.
And I think
So you have to be mindful of your portion and what exactly it is that you're portioning.
and that just made me think about I had a flashback to Justy before, and I remember when I sometimes I'll get like lean cuisines, like the frozen dinners. I always just have a couple in my freezer just in case, you know, something happens. And I remember when I was younger, like those weren't enough, and
No, you need 2 of them.
I would eat 2 of them for sure because surely that's not enough because it didn't give me the stuffed feeling. And so now I'll eat one and I don't have a stuffed feeling, but I'm not hungry anymore. And for a minute, like it took me a minute to say, can I just stop at one? Let me see what that does for myself. And so, same thing with portioning your food. What you're always doing, what you're always getting, just bring it back a little bit. And at the end of the day, if I'm hungry later, I can eat another one. It's not going anywhere. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it's kind of like that automatic drive that we have to get to stuffed, completely stuffed. That's what meal prepping does for me is it stops me. And if I want to eat more, I have to warm up a whole nother portion and blah, 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 blah. And it's like that gives me that pause to think about it.
Right.
If I was cooking dinner every night and cooking like, say tonight I'm cooking, you know, whatever, I would probably eat more than I would cooking it, portioning it, and kind of doing it that way. Because I could easily go back to the pot for more. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
I
Yep.
also always meal prep after I've eaten because I don't want to do it when I'm hungry because I'm gonna taste and bite and eat and all that stuff, and that all kind of adds up. So I do it when I'm full. I
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yep. And that's the best to me, that's another thing, like making decisions like that. Like I will try to eat something before I meal prep. So that way I'm not meal prepping while I'm hungry and tempted to make my portions bigger than I need them to be.
Yeah.
Because in that hungry moment, I'll be like, oh, I need more than this, or like looking at that chili and thinking that wasn't enough when in actuality, it was more than enough. Um, I I want to switch gears just a little bit and talk about time restraints. I've had all the restraints you can think of. I lived in a camper. I moved and I had like next to no kitchen. And so I never let that get in the way of me not doing something. And so when I lived in the camper, I had a teeny tiny little fridge. I just meal prepped less. I still
Hmm.
did it, but I would do like 2 meals at a time and then another 2 meals at a time. It's something like that just to keep, or what can I keep dry that doesn't have to go into that refrigerator? Or do I have room in the cooler outside? Things like that. So you have to, don't let little life obstacles get in the way of you, breaking your stride. When I moved, I would take Kevin's brand. They've got some really good product of like proteins, and they come sauce and everything, and they're usually great macros on them. I did like the cilantro lime chicken. They've got some great some like roast beef dishes and stuff like that. I would buy the pre-made, it's already cooked. I did not re-cook it until I would microwave it. So I took that cilantro lime chicken, I opened the pouch, and I put that right into my meal prep container. And then I would get like the Uncle Ben's rice packets or the Seeds of Change rice packets. And I'm not cooking it because I'm going to microwave it later. It's already cooked. It just needs heat brought to it. I'll take that rice packet and portion that into 3 or 4 or whatever. Typically 4 would get me about a quarter cup. And then I'll get like a bird's eye vegetable from in the freezer that I can pop in the microwave. So I just did meal prep with a microwave.
Hmm.
That's it. That's it. I didn't have all my kitchen stuff was packed. I didn't have the ability to do all of that. So I did what I could. Um, or you could get like a pre-made lasagna, find like a healthier version, maybe not just like the full fat, full whatever version. There's plenty of them out there, and cook that and then divide that up. Like there's always a way to do it. I've seen people go to Chipotle and get like their family style and divide that up into meals. There's ways of going about it. It does not have to be an elaborate thing. One of the things Justy and I like to do sometimes, she'll do her crock pot soup. Let
Yeah.
the crock pot do the work for you. Just dump some stuff in there and let it do the work. And soups are great because if you don't eat that whole thing, Ziploc bag, freeze it, pull it out for another time. And like Justy had said before, like you're away or you're busy and you didn't have time to meal prep, there's always kind of something there that you can grab from. If you've had, I've got tomato soup in there and I think like a bean and sausage soup that like if I didn't have anything, I could always grab that out, defrost one of those and do that.
And I also, that was interesting. It brought a thought to my head. And I think what's important and with all of everything that we do is having a plan for when your plan has obstacles.
Mhm.
So, having a backup and being like, okay, well, if Sunday, I don't know, something happens on Sunday where I can't plan, that does meal prep. That doesn't mean that you can't do it at all. It means
Mhm.
that you can do it more limited, or maybe you need to push it till Monday, or maybe you need to, like you said, just cook one thing for the next couple of days and then get back at it on Wednesday. Maybe you need to go get some frozen things. Maybe you
Right.
need to order something and split it up. But just because an obstacle gets in your way, or this is a great one, you're not feeling motivated, which we just talked about motivation not being a feeling. So
Right.
um,
Right.
if you're motivated to do it, you need to have your reasons why. And so, yeah, I don't feel like cooking on Sunday. I'm not going to feel like doing my meal prep after I have my date on Sunday and this and that or whatever. And I already know that because I'm planning myself to have a date on Sunday and with myself. And I'm going to go go to brunch. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to come home, get my jammies, put on the fireplace. I'm not going to want to meal prep Sunday. So I'm planning to
Right.
do it Saturday. So, or I'd plan to do it on Monday, but
And
it's not allowing those excuses or the lack of wanting to do it or motivation to get in your way, because the reason why is to set yourself up for the week and to have a successful week and to make life easier on you.
Right. And the other thing too is, excuse me, if you don't have the time to meal prep, like we've fallen into this as well, at least meal plan. And I will
Yeah.
say that. So I meal prep my lunches, like I said, my lunches and like breakfast and snack, or sometimes, I shake it up. But my meal for dinner is planned. I have a whiteboard in the kitchen and I write what I'm having each of those days. So it's well thought out. There's no like, oh God, what am I going to do? I don't have any food here. And just so you know, I've got food here. Like, I
Right.
don't have anything to make. I don't even know what to do. Like, there's none of that. There's none of that drama. I've already written it on there. That's what it is. Occasionally we'll change it. It's just like neither one of us is feeling it. Like, well, let's change that. We'll push that to later in the week. But for the most part, like that's the meals. Even the kids will know to go look at the board and see what's for dinner. Because I put it on there and it is what it is. But so if you can't meal prep, at least plan and have a plan and know that you're going to be able to stick to that plan. Don't put some pie in the sky. I'm going to have lasagna on Monday when you know that Monday you have soccer practice for the kids and meetings that run late. When are you making this lasagna? Don't put something
Right.
on there that you can't do. And then you
Right.
run through McDonald's and it's nuggets for everybody. Don't do that to yourself.
And like we said, it's about planning, and meal prep is planning. And if you can't meal prep, then at least plan.
Mhm.
And also it's kind of like, oh, I just lost my thought. What is happening to
You're me
us?
now. It's because we're 47.
I know. It's been happening a lot lately, and I don't remember what I was going to say, but it's not allowing, meal prepping is not allowing for me to make an excuse to make a bad choice.
Right.
And so like we've talked about, um it's kind of like I'm able to keep a promise to myself when I've promised myself something. But if
Right.
I didn't promise myself what I was eating today, if I didn't say, oh, hey, today I'm going to eat this, this, and this, then I am, how are you promising yourself? Now it's not, I'm not going to promise myself I'm going to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli every meal, but I'm promising myself I'm going to plan what I'm eating. And
Right.
lately I've been craving chocolate cake. I literally was at the Harris Teeter the other day and getting my meal prep, and I went over to the chocolate cake and I had a conversation with myself. It wasn't on my plan. They have just like single slices for like $3.99. And I was like, oh, but I knew I would eat it that night if I bought it. And so I
Right.
told, all right, chocolate cake, I see you. I feel you. I'm hearing you. But I'm going to wait another few days and see if I'm still wanting chocolate cake. And then I'm going to plan that shit.
Right.
And I'm going to eat it. But I did not buy it. The old me would have bought a whole ass chocolate cake and probably smashed half of it for whatever reason. But now it's like, I keep a promise to myself. And I did not promise myself in the morning that I was going to have chocolate cake. But tomorrow, if I promise myself I'm going to have chocolate cake, I'm going to fucking enjoy the hell out of it.
Like on
And
your
that's
date day. Yeah. Get yourself some chocolate cake, girl. You've been
all you
thinking about it.
really want is that lava cake from Fleming's,
Hmm.
specific Fleming's.
Right.
But that might be my date day dessert. But but I'm going to plan it. And it's not like I'm going to beat myself up about it. It's not like it's going to throw me off. I'm not going to gain 10 pounds back because of it. It's what I want, and I'm going to plan it. And that's okay.
Right.
Like, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Totally okay. So, and it's okay to also pivot that when you need to as well. Like, uh, so maybe, okay, for me, this weekend, I'm going away. My Girl Scout camp with my stepdaughter. I knew going into it, I still want to meal prep. We're not coming home until Sunday afternoon. I got my groceries already. And I'm ready. So when I come home, and I may get home later than I thought that I would, I think I'll be home in late afternoon, which will give me time to prep. And you know what? If I wasn't able to, I have everything. I'll do it Monday. It's okay. It's okay to pivot. My plan is to do it Sunday, but I know any wrench in the works could come up. And then I won't be able to, but I'm 95% certain that I will, but I have everything here. So what am I going to do? Say I didn't get it done Sunday? Fuck it, I'm not meal prepping this week. No, I'll just do it Monday. It's okay. Like I can eat Sunday night and Monday morning until I get to my meal prep Monday night. So just it's okay to, change gears. Just don't derail yourself altogether.
Don't let one bad decision be the reason you're having multiple bad decisions, you know?
Right, exactly.
Steph's going out of town this weekend, and she was talking about how she's going to have some s'mores, and that's on her plan, and a few other, you know, just treats that we don't typically eat every week. And that's okay. But honestly, what I found is when I don't restrict myself from those type of things, I definitely don't overeat or go
Yeah.
face down. So I might have a s'more. Actually, it sounds really good, but I might have at a cookout or something like that. And just me allowing myself to put that on my plan and putting, you know, 2 s'mores on my plan or whatever, I might not even eat them, honestly. But if I didn't put it on there and those fucking s'mores are talking to me, that's when your brain
Right.
just like, then your whole time at that camp or whatever retreat, you're thinking about those goddamn s'mores instead of what you're really there for.
Right.
But if you have your permission, self permission to eat 2 s'mores and you're like, damn, those are really, really good, I move on. Like,
Yeah. I
move
know the
on.
menu. I know the menu for the whole week, and I'm going to eat the shit out of all of it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to eat it. I'm going to be intentional about how I eat it. The Saturday night, tomorrow night for dinner is chicken. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to be cooked. While the kids chose the menu, the main leader is the one who shopped for it and is, you know, doing. So I know we're having chicken. I don't know how it's cooked, but I'm going to primarily eat chicken because that'll be my protein. Carrots. I don't know how they're going to be cooked either, but I'll have some carrots. And then mac and cheese. So I will eat it in that order. I will eat my chicken and make sure I get my protein. I'll get some vegetables, and you better believe I'm going to eat mac and cheese. Now, the old me probably would have had a pile of mac and cheese on the plate,
Mm-hmm.
some chicken and a carrot. Just one.
Well, and difference is too, the old me would not have listened to my hunger cues. Like I would have ate whether or not I was hungry. I would have eaten way past full. And so the new me, I'll eat whatever I want, but I listen to my hunger cues. I listen to my body. Am I hungry? Is my stomach growling? You know, has it been 4 or 5 hours since I last ate? All of this stuff. Then I'll eat whatever I've prepared or what have you, but I'm not going to eat until I have that full feeling. And if I did, then I'm going to evaluate why and, you know, go through that whole thing. But the next meal that I eat, I'm going to remember that. And I'm not going to, but
Right.
it's not like, oh, well, I just ate past full at breakfast, so my whole day is fucked.
Right.
No. But it's really about eating when you're hungry. And we're going to have a thing about counting calories. Her and I have been doing it for the last couple of weeks. And it does mess with your brain a little bit because you're like, oh my God, I need to get this many calories, but I'm just not hungry for it. Or some days
Right.
I'm going to bed hungry, and that's not okay either.
Right.
So portioning your food and prepping your food for what you know by listening to your body and listening to those hunger cues. And another thing that we didn't really talk about yet is I like snacks. I don't always eat snacks, so I like to have them. So when I take my little bag and I put my 2 containers in there, I throw 3 snacks in there, whether it's a yogurt or a string cheese or a protein shake. Sometimes I'll make the protein pudding, whatever. I'll just throw some. Sometimes it's just berries, sometimes it's nuts, like whatever. I just throw it in there. That way, I know that if I do get caught off guard by my day, or if I'm feeling hungry, I have something. A lot
Yeah.
of times I'm home and I open my bag and I put my snacks away. Like I'm not eating them just because they're in my bag,
But
I
you have
guess.
the option because, and for people that are in like an office setting or something like that, you don't have that option with you. You're hitting a vending machine. And I can
Oh
promise
yeah.
you the vending machine doesn't have the same options that your bag has. So just bring it with you. I usually get my husband's bag ready for him. And I'll put like a couple snacks in there. Same thing. Most of the time it comes home with them. For me, I work from home, so I just walk right to the pantry and you know, I'm good to go there. So I have my stuff ready. I have my turkey sticks. I have my cheese sticks. Like I have things, so I don't have to derail myself.
But the couple of things that I do before I eat or before I have one of my snacks is I talk to myself. I talk to myself a lot. If it's interesting because I'll be in a meeting and I'll just like have my bag there. We're talking about whatever. I'll grab my bag. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking, okay, when did I eat last? Because if I ate an hour ago, bitch, you're not hungry. You're just bored because you're talking about the same shit you've been talking about, right?
Right, right,
I do, and that's listening to your hunger and putting data behind that feeling of hunger and just being like, wait, when did I eat last? Or what did I eat? Or how much did I eat? Should I be hungry right now? And really kind of making sure that you're eating the snack out of hunger, or out of just the need to kind of boost a little bit until your next meal.
Mhm.
But that's why I come home with my snacks a lot. I have them there just so I don't feel deprived or what have you. But a lot of times I don't eat them because I'm asking myself before I eat, are you hungry? Like, when was the last time you ate? Surely, and I'll tell myself, surely you can't be hungry when you just ate a whole meal an hour ago. Like, there's something
Right,
else going on here,
right, exactly. And that's just it. You have to talk to yourself about what is it that our good friend Laura Graybo, what are you hungering for? What is it that you're really hungry for? Because it's not always chips, it's not always cookies. There's something deeper. So that's the work that you have to do to get
Mhm.
yourself through.
Right. Yeah.
But
So,
I mean, one way or another, whether you meal prep, meal plan, and I'll say just try it. Just try it and start simple. Start with one thing. Just meal
mhm,
prep your lunches. Then
mhm.
add to lunch and add a snack. Make a healthy dip for some veggies. Just start to layer, get comfortable with it first if you haven't done it before, rather than all or nothing. Like I have to meal prep breakfast and lunch and dinner and snack. You don't have to do that. That's not
Yeah.
what this is about. It's just setting yourself up for success.
And if you have a place too, like when I used to work at the office, we had a little restaurant that had salads and stuff. And sometimes that was my plan, right? I
Yeah.
didn't, so it just kind of depends. And I have bakeries and we have salads. Now, a lot of times if I don't have, listen, this is crazy too. I can get free food, free pastries, free coffee, free food, chicken salad sandwiches, whatever, great soups. Our food's great. And I literally maybe 4 times a month eat in my bakeries because I have my little bag with me.
Right.
And I would much rather um, spend the time to prepare my food, to know what I'm eating, to be controlled of it, to not have the drama around it, than to say, oh, I'll just eat at the bakery today, because that's not going to set me up for good. Now, I will put on my plan a sweet, and I'll grab whatever sweet I want that day. So I do plan a sweet almost every day. Some days I don't eat it. I didn't have a sweet today. I didn't have a sweet yesterday. But it's just interesting how me, of all people on earth, that don't have to meal prep because I'm around food all day, I still meal prep because it's what I
Right.
want most of my life, is to be healthy and stay in maintenance.
Right. Yep. Makes sense.
Mhm.
So that's our spiel on meal prep, and we didn't always do it. And we're not perfect at it, but we certainly put the effort out, and I think it really helps me for sure. It's so much more helpful than to try to have to figure it out. Takes the drama out, makes life easier. Um, I know we said we were going to talk about our self-care things.
Mhm.
We because we're double recording, we just talked about it in the last one. I should tell you to just go back and listen to that. But
Right.
I'm gonna explain to you that I did get my so if you listen to both, you're gonna hear it twice. I did get a fancy red color of nail polish that I like that I didn't get to use over Christmas because I was sick. So I gave myself a pedicure, got myself feeling better about that, and then the one night I did a girls' night with my stepdaughter, and we did face masks. She picked out the clay ones. We did our little clay. We put our little headbands on. I painted her nails, and we put some music on, and we just kind of hung out. So that's like a something we do every once in a while. We hadn't done it in a while, so that was really nice. So that was me. I know, Justy, you've got this weekend.
Yeah, I'm taking myself on a date this weekend. I'm gonna get up in the morning and put some cute outfit on and go to brunch, probably do a little shopping, come home, get my jammies, binge watch TV, put the fire on, light some candles, just me, probably turn off my phone so nobody at work can bother me, and just
Mhm.
uh just do that. I need that for sure. I definitely need that. Yeah. And then what's next?
So what's next? We actually do know, because we talked about this a little bit on that last one too, is we wanted to talk about oh gosh. Yep, there we have it. So Justy had mentioned um oh, we're going to talk about tracking food
Yep.
because we're doing that now, the good, the bad, how we feel about it, how other people may feel about it. And then eating past full or too full or enough is another one that we talked about doing. So we've got some ideas, nothing set in stone though.
Yep. So I think that will be great. So again, if you haven't meal prepped, or if you're afraid of it, just try one thing. I started out with just soup. I just do a soup
Yeah.
every week. That's all I did was a soup every week, replaced one meal with that. And that's where I started. So soup and boiled eggs.
Right, exactly.
Do that.
All right.
But that's it for today.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.